Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome to the Piper Report. I will be doing my collaboration with a man who refused to die soon, but before I do that, I want to go over an interesting article here because I think it is important, and it also delineates the Democrats, congressional Democrats' hypocrisy. So let's go over it. It's called "Blue Slips Won't Spike Trump's Judicial Picks," Grassley says. Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley signaled this week he won't adhere to a strict blue slip policy for judicial nominees, clearing the path for Republicans to install some of Trump's picks over the objections of home state Democrats. Mr. Grassley said the blue strip tradition was intended to make sure the president consults with senators about judicial picks from their states, but wasn't intended to give those same senators an absolute veto. A senator can't use a blue slip to block a nominee because it's not the person the senator would have picked. The president gets to nominate judges, Grassley said on the chamber floor on Monday. Under the tradition, unless both home state senators return their blue slips signaling acquiescence, the Senate Judiciary Committee usually won't proceed with a nomination. So what this means basically is that the president, before he nominates judges, he usually asks the senators of that state, both senators, and if the senators agree, they would give the blue slips back. Well, what happened with Obama? We know that Obama completely stacked the federal court system, the federal appeals court, with hardcore liberal judges. And he did this by working with Harry Reid and implementing the nuclear option. The nuclear option basically bypassed the filibuster. That means that judicial nominees could be confirmed by the Senate with a strict majority vote, in this case 51 votes. Normally, a filibuster requires that the Senate has to vote 60 votes. 60 members of the Senate have to vote yes, or else you can filibuster it. And they do this by doing a roll count, essentially. So, for instance, Judge Gorsuch did not have 60 senators that would vote yes for him. And in theory, in which was going to happen, the congressional Democrats would have filibustered, and Gorsuch would have never, ever been confirmed. So Mitch McConnell did what Harry Reid and Obama did, and he employed the nuclear option on judicial nominees, on Supreme Court judicial nominees, which bypassed the filibuster and which gave Neil Gorsuch the ability to be confirmed by the Senate with a simple majority. So, it's interesting to note that Obama and Harry Reid started all this. The main reason why, courts like the Ninth Circuit are just so liberal and so regressive is because Harry Reid did the nuclear option. Harry Reid bypassed Senate protocol just so he and Obama could stack the courts with judges that they wanted, judges that would help them implement their political policies. And since I should clarify that Harry Reid, he did the nuclear option for all nominations under Supreme Court. Mitch McConnell then did it for the Supreme Court. So that means that right now there is really no way to veto any of Trump's judicial nominees. So congressional Democrats, what they're trying to do now, they are actually trying to they're trying to deduce another way to prevent Trump from nominating who he wants. And Grassley said, no, we're not going to do this. Where is I at here? Only a couple committee chairmen over the last century have ruled no nominee would be considered without both home state senators returning their blue slips. For most of that time, it was considered an important but not determining factor, Mr. Grassley said. The dispute over blue slip tradition recently heated up when Senator Al Franken, Minnesota Democrat, said he wouldn't return his blue slip for Mr. Trump's nominee, Minnesota Supreme Court Justice David Strauss, for the 8th U.S. Circuit of Appeals. Shortly after that, both of Oregon's Democratic senators said they also wouldn't return their blue slips for another of the president's circuit court picks. Democrats said that should scuttle the picks altogether and force Trump to come up with someone else. The president's backers countered that Democrats, left without power of the filibuster, we're looking for other tools to deny Trump his nominees. Mr. Grassley said the White House may have a different sense for an individual's worthiness to sit on the federal court, and so long as there is no consultation, the president generally gets to make that call. I won't allow the blue slip to be abused, he said. I won't allow senators to block nominees for political or ideological reasons. This position is consistent with the historical role of blue slip courtesy. And there we have it. After Obama and Reid completely stacked the appeals court with hardcore left judges, they want to try to prevent Trump from picking who he wants for judges. They cannot give the man a break. They really can't. And good for Mr. Grassley to stand up here to actually stop this from happening. I agree with this. And I'm done.